Welcome back everyone, and welcome to the first video in the newly revamped workshop. I hope you like it because I love it. And as an added bonus, I think I've finally fixed this camera, so hopefully I'm in full 4K now. Anyway, we got a Kinesis Titanium bike in the stand today. It's in for a conversion, and some of you are not going to like this one. Let me show you. I'm sorry, customer's always right and all that, but this lot's going. It's been replaced with this Ultegra 12-speed Di2. We've also got some new wheels, new tyres, new headset, new everything almost. The only bits we are keeping are the stem, the bar, the seat post and the saddle. That's it. The rest of this is coming off. So I've got a lot of work to do. Let's get cracking. Oh, by the way, the customer is definitely watching this video, so let's keep your comments respectful. Thank you. Alright, so let's make a start. These wheels are coming off, obviously. Everything's coming off, like I say, pretty much. So I'm keeping my hat on, by the way, because it's a bit nippy in here. Right. He is keeping all this stuff. Obviously, I don't know what his plans are with it, but it'll be getting reused, don't worry. It's not going in the bin. If you notice that end cap missing, it's because I've already had this cable out to do a bit of research, that's why. Right, so the only thing different on this bike really is the ultra torque bottom bracket. So it's slightly different. There's a little clip down here we do. Big bolt down there, crank comes out. All that's coming off. So the other thing I need to be careful of is this brake hose here. So this is obviously internally routed, well semi, it only goes from there to there, and then a short section on the down tube as well. But obviously we've got to get a hydraulic brake hose through there as well. Gear cables, obviously we're going to a wireless system, so they're irrelevant now, and then all of this will come off as well. Already had this out to do a bit of research. This cable stop here, Kinesis do a Di2 stop. However, they don't do it anymore because this frame is obsolete and they don't support that anymore. So we'll have to do a bit of a workaround on how we're going to get the cable through there successfully. I've got a few ideas. This basically just comes out. And obviously the Di2 cable is going to come out of here instead of a gear cable. So this is a Shimano chain on a Campagnolo system. Yes, it works. Putting a new chain on though, so it's all coming off. Torques on the derailleur, as you do. Don't get me wrong, it is a fantastic kit and it is actually working really, really well, but the plans the customer's got for this bike, he's doing some very long endurance events. I think his main frustration is around these brakes. We have done a lot of work, we've got compressionless housing here, but at the end of the day, the cable operated disc brakes and the performance is just night and day compared to hydraulics, so Ultegra hydraulics are going on. Anyway, this is coming off. So for some reason my camera's decided it likes 4K but it doesn't want to focus anymore, so maybe another setting. Oh, honestly, if I could find somebody that wants to come down here and give me a couple of hours training on a Sony FX30, I'm very happily paid to do that because it's a bit of a beast. There's loads of stuff on YouTube, don't get me wrong, but I'll stick to fixing bikes rather than setting up cameras. So we'll leave this in place just for now until we work out how we're going to get the hydraulic hose all the way through, because that's going to be the only slightly challenging part. What we'll probably do is pull the inner out, got a little barb connection here, connect that to the new hose, and it should just pull all the way through, hopefully. Bottom bracket dead anyway, so it's coming out. You can hear that. Sounds rough. So just got to pull this little spring clip out, undo the big bolt, and this will come straight out. Like that. So just pop that off first, and then a big bolt down here. Right, just re-record this bit because I didn't press record. Hence the front mech's already off. Now this one is going to be super, super tight. I wouldn't try and recommend you do it in the frame. What you need to do is get it onto the floor and wedge something underneath this pedal, and it's pretty straightforward. Also take note, if you've got a super record, you're going to have a titanium bolt in there with a left-hand thread. Chorus and anything else apart from super record is just a normal right-hand thread, so it'll just undo anti-clockwise. So the way to do this, same as you've got a really tight pedal basically, get yourself a block of wood down here. It doesn't need to be part tool block of wood, any block of wood's going to do you. Put your foot on that one there, and then you can get all the torque in the world on this bolt here. It just comes out very easily then. That's it. Then you get back up the stand and do it by hand. That rhymed. And now it'll just come straight out. This bottom bracket is dead. Pull the cranks out. Don't know which one comes out first. A good fit in the cups. There's one half of it. This is the ultra torque crank. There's the other one. Ultra torque basically spline themselves in. It's a horse link or something like that. I can't remember if it's got a technical name, but they join in there like that. Specialized do a very similar one on their Fact crank as well. But it's pretty unique apart from those two. Not aware of anybody else that does one. But it's a good system. But don't lose the bolt. Like I say, I've already took the front derailleur off. I forgot to press record, sorry. I already took the front caliper off as well. I'm just going to take this bracket off when I realised I wasn't recording as usual. So it is a flat mount fork. It's currently got a post mount adapter on it. So hopefully this new caliper will just drop straight onto this fork. Otherwise we've got big issues. Well, I've got big issues, you haven't. You've got a good laugh. I've got to take that bottom bracket out as well. So it's Italian components, but on an English threaded frame, so it's a left-hand thread on this side. So when we get into it, you'll see the biggest challenge on this is the Di2 cable has got to go from there to there. And this is quite an early frame by Kinesis. I think the later ones have developed more room or better routing for a cable down here. So this could be a challenge. I did ring them the other day and ask them, because this frame is specifically listed as Di2 compatible. It has a port here for the front derailleur. However, they did say basically, good luck. So we'll see. Right, so I'm going to pull this headset now. We've got a new one to go in here. It's a Hope one. Customer wanted a bit of colour on the bike. So that's going in. Don't worry, all this is coming out. Somehow I've got to find a way of blanking it out, because like I say, they don't make these anymore. Anyway, I diverse. Anyway, we're going to look at this next. So the customer's asked me to drop the handlebar by 11mm. So it's quite specific, I'm not going to lie. Well, I think it might have fixed my focus, hopefully. Right, so he wants this 11mm lower, but we're putting a different manufacturer's headset in, so we can't use this one as a measurement. So we're going to use the top of the frame, basically. To the centre of the stem is, nearest down at 61mm, so we're going to set that to 50mm to include new spacers. I did say it might be plus or minus 1mm, but we'll try and drop it down a bit. Actually, before I do the headset, I'm going to strip these bars off, because I need to get all these cables out, basically, to make life a bit easy for me. So I'm just going to strip this off. We're not going to save this bar tape, it's not possible. Well, I would highly recommend you don't try, because it's just impossible, basically. So I'll just cut this off. So my plan is just to leave this rear brake housing in the frame, and everything else can come off at the moment. Pop this front brake cable out, because we don't need that now. Actually good condition, so I'm going to keep that. Even worst case scenario, you can use that for a front brake if it's not long enough, but they are in actually really good condition, like almost brand new condition. And obviously we don't need that shifter. Tell you what, don't matter how much you undo them, it's never enough. They always get stuck down here. So this needs to stay in the frame for now. We need to use that to pull the hydraulic hose through, so that can stay where it is for now. So I'm really hoping this headset that I bought is the right one. But according to Kinesis' excellent website and their archive information, it should drop straight in. Fork's going to drop out any second now, so spare Allen key, don't worry. That's why I have so many Allen keys behind me, because when you drop one when you're in the middle of a critical job like this position here, you don't want to be leaving it, so you just grab another one. I think I've got 6 5mm, 3, at least 3 4mm, 3 3mm, and only 1 6, and the little diddy ones. Come out, no problem. Alright, so the fork is out. It's 2016, this fork, so 10 years old. I'm not sure if that recorded or not, but that just pulled the old split race off and pushed the new one on. A little bit of grease there, nothing special, and it comes with a seal. So this is a Hope headset that we're using. Top one, we've gone for some colour, which should look pretty good. We've gone for orange. Bit of bling, it should look quite nice actually. So they give you a load of shims in here just in case you need it to stop this basically rubbing on the frame, or shim it up if need be. And the bearing just sits in the frame like that. It doesn't get much easier than this. We just need to check where they want this O-ring, because it doesn't seem to fit in either recess. Right, so on the top one, this O-ring, it's a bit random. The instructions are pretty poor basically. It just starts to stack on top of each other, but it doesn't fit anything. It doesn't fit there, it doesn't fit in here. I think what you're actually supposed to do, by the looks of it, drop this onto the bearing like that, halfway, drop it into the cup itself then, and then it'll sit flush with the top of there like that. That's the only place it fits. And then the top cap goes on there. So as far as I can work out, that's how that fits. Correct me if I'm wrong, but and then they ask you for at least one of these shims here, basically to give you clearance on that one there. Okay, so that's a dry test fit. Now we put it all back together with some grease. Right, so let's just get some fresh finish line grease in here. I'm on a mission. I want Finish Line to be my channel lubricant sponsor. And they've asked for probably at least one shim, so we'll go with one for now and see how it fits. And that's it basically. Excuse the grease, I'll wipe it off. It helps if you put the lower bearing in first, Stuart. Well done. Right, so that's in. Both bearings are in this time. Jesus, it's gonna be a long day at this rate. I say a long day, but it's probably gonna be 2 days actually filming this, but I'm sure it'll be worth it. Right, next. So rather than refitting these, we got these. So I should be able to fairly precisely get that measurement that he was asking for there. So we need to set the top of this to the middle of that to 50mm, wasn't it? There's no compression on this headset, so I'm just gonna put a little bit on there. And we'll need this top cap just to do that. I'm trying to avoid cutting this fork really if possible, but we'll see how it looks. Right, so we're going to take out at least one of these. Pick out all these little ones. I think realistically, there's probably a millimetre in that. I'd rather not cut the fork if possible, because he's basically just moving this position. He might not like it and want to put it back on, so I think that's going to look better with a black one, actually. That should just about work. Right, so headset's in, looking good actually. So I'm going to look at this next. I'm going to pull this rear caliper through using this old brake cable. So we use this little thing here to do that. It basically screws into the old one and the new one. They've got opposite threads, so they screw in and tighten themselves together. It's very clever, and then you just pull it all the way through. There's the new caliper. It comes with a hose fitted, but it also comes with a barb fitted, which you can't screw into at all, so you've got to cut that off. Too long anyway, so it just needs to come off. So cut that off. And when I screw that in there, because it's got a left-hand thread, it will bite into both of them equally. Just use an Allen key down the middle. Twist it in. Dropper cables, things like that, they're really, really good for this. So they're both now permanently connected, basically. You're not going to pull that apart. So I can pull this through the frame all the way through to the head tube pretty easily. So there's just a small section in the chainstay here, so that will pull through very easily. So we'll just do that bit first. And that's that bit. Again, we're only going to go from here to here, so we'll just pull that through carefully. Shouldn't be too difficult. Dead easy. Job done now. Now we can just pull this through. When you pull it through, make sure you don't catch any sharp edges on the frame and start shaving the hose down basically. So we can leave that the way it is for now, and we'll come back to that later. The most challenging part of this build is going to be getting this Di2 cable from here to here. So I think we'll look at that next, because once that's out of the way, the rest of it is literally just chucking bits on a bike, so it's easy. But this could be a bit of a challenge. So let's have a look at that next. Cup of tea first though. Nice. Anyway, alright, so this could be the interesting bit. Like I say, and the beauty of this though, because we're titanium, we can clamp the frame quite safely here. We're not on carbon and it is round, so we can easily do that while we're dealing with the seat post and getting the cables through there. So let's get it clamped up there and see what we've got to deal with. God. Let's get this marked up first. There's already a mark on it. Good. I don't think that's the original bolt somehow. It's a little bit excessive. However, I might have a solution for that. That's out. It's good. Not very long is it? But that's more than enough insertion there. That's what she said. Anyway, this, he doesn't know this yet, but I bought this. He thinks we're going to finish it off lovely with that headset. Beautiful. Nice. So basically on this one there's a rubber plug that I've just put in there. I can't get back out to show you, but it goes in there and then the battery will just slide in there like so. And just put a cable tie around here to make sure it doesn't fall out. And that's the battery fitted. Oh, that's fitted, that was easy. Cables, they're not going to be quite so easy. So we have two cables, we have one for the front derailleur. You need it a bit longer because you've got to be able to get your seat post out with some slack. So you don't just measure it directly to the bottom of the battery. And then this one, this is going to be the challenge. This is going to go inside the chainstay, up there, and then up there. Like I say, the only issue we might have is getting it around in this side here, because basically there's only a tiny little hole. That's what he said. And then it goes in there like that. And I should be able to just pick that out there. I'll get you a bit closer, show you what I'm doing. So going into the bottom bracket, there's the chainstay hole there, the seat tube hole up there. So the cable's basically just got to go in this section here, and then we've still got to get a bottom bracket in there. So it's going to be a bit tight, but I'm sure we can do it. Alright, so I'm just going to go for it basically. So this is going to go up the chainstay here, and hopefully I can find it at the other end. So actually I can already see it, I don't think you can, but I can see it there. So I'm going to grab a nylon pick. Where are they? Well, that was pretty straightforward actually. I thought it was going to be a nightmare, but yeah, she's out. Pretty straightforward. Need a bit more through so we can actually connect to the derailleur. Right, now we're going to get it down the seat tube. Should be a bit easier actually. I'm just going to turn it upside down and let gravity give us a hand basically. Like that, and then this piece here, I can literally just shove that down the seat tube. And hopefully come out the other end. Shram. A gear this one. I can just about see it, so let me just see if I can grab it and help it towards where we want it on one of those clips. There you go, piece of cake. Don't know what I was worried about. There's one in, that was easy. Got to get the one in for the front derailleur now. So the front derailleur has this little port here. There's a replacement Di2 port that will fill that with a hole in it. I'm just going to shove that cable up again and out the top again. If it weren't for these clips, it'd probably be alright, but I mean, you can take them off, but it's just risking an annoying rattle inside your frame. So after I've got this in, if I get this in, we'll put the bottom bracket in, and then we can basically put this section to bed. Oh, yeah, there is just about enough clearance for how it's going to be tight. Piece of cake. Also, I've just noticed this seat post has actually got some damage and some delamination here, so this will be replaced. Definitely can't use that, but for the purpose of this video, we'll be refitting this, because I'm not going to get a new one within the space of the next half an hour. and then off camera we'll put a new one in there. But yeah, that's not ideal, is it? Well, anyway, we'll fit it now temporarily. I'll advise the customer that he needs a new seat post. Pull out 2 blanking plugs in the battery. We can just plug it in. Alright, so that's it. So now I've got to get the seat post in, pull in any sort of excess cable. I'm not going to bother greasing it, like I say, because we're going to replace it. Alright, so we'll just refit that. Like I say, it's only temporary. We are going to change that post. Well, I'll change it at some point, but not today. Like that. So now we've just got to get the bottom bracket in. There is a cable here, you can't really see it, but I can just about feel it. We've just got to make sure we clear that. And then we're home and dry. This sleeve here is important, but obviously the cable doesn't want to get trapped in there. If it sits on here, it's totally fine. It's not a moving part. And that's going to clear that, absolutely no problem. Done. So if you get yourself a torque wrench, you need to make sure you get one that'll do a left-hand torque. Not all of them do. This one will, it'll beep. Right, so that's probably the challenging part's done now. Both the Di2 cables are run. They are a little bit long, they're supposed to be too long and too short. And then we can put the derailleurs on basically, get the derailleur on, get the crank in now, the bottom bracket's in, and that's cleared that cable, no problem. Seat clamp's on, and the headset is done. So we're actually looking good. I do like this orange, I've got to say, it does look nice. Just going to look at this port here because there could be a bit of a bodge, well not really a bodge, but there's no solution. Basically they do an insert for this really, which is designed for Di2 cables, so this middle piece comes out, but they don't make it anymore. So basically my plan is really drill that hole in the back there to the size of this cable, which is about 3.5 millimeters, and then use one of these rubber Di2 grommets and basically slide it in there like so, and potentially we can add some black silicone underneath there just to make sure no water can pool in there and get into the frame. I think that's going to be a fairly decent solution really, to be fair. So that's what I'll do. I did consider 3D printing it, but it's a bit involved for me. I don't have any skills in that, unfortunately. So I'm going to drill this through now, see what happens, and then we'll drop this in there. And then, like I say, just a drop of black silicone in there, and that should be fine. That's it. Hopefully that's big enough for the cable. I did measure it, honest. There's a little bit more. The old wiggle, that'll do it. Right, so that will go through there now. Like that. Perfect. That drops into the frame. I think these were supposed to hold themselves in at some point, but they all seem to have failed over the years. Like that. And then just put this rubber piece into here. Pretty much holds itself in there really. And then, like I say, I'm just going to get some black silicone. If I've got any, if not, I'll just grab some and just put a drop underneath where this grommet sits. Otherwise, water's going to pool in there. And there is access to the frame. It is titanium, so it's not going to be rusty, but let's just get it sealed up if we can. So I did have some silicone as a result. I didn't think I had any. Attempt to get this in here without making the world's biggest mess. That's just Kinesis recommendation, by the way, so I'm going by manufacturer's instructions. Add some silicone. That's sealed. Let me just slide this back in where it was. And we'll call that done. Let that dry. Beautiful. Like I say, the front of the frame does actually have a hole for it. So again, just another grommet. So that grommet will just go on there and drop into the frame, like so. So make sure you angle the cable down, otherwise water, again, could potentially pool in there. This is a good seal on that one. It is obviously designed for this cable, so you might need to pull a bit through for the front derailleur, but it should be about where it needs to be. So that's done. So I'm going to put the rear mech on now, just so I can set actually the length of this cable before that silicone dries. It's not actually touching the cable, but just in case. There she is, Ultegra Di2 rear derailleur. Let's get this connected. Drop of grease on this mounting bolt, usual. Just pull it down a little bit while you're tightening it, otherwise it just walks itself around the dropout. That's on. Shimano like wasting paper, no one's reading any of this. Jeez, it's like newspaper. My pain neck. Here's your instructions. Alternatively, you could just look on the internet and save a tree. Oh, nice one, Shimano. Sorry, I forgot the boot. It comes with a tool, I've already got these, but it basically just clips in there then. Like so. And that's alive now, and then just push this seal over the connection. Right, that's actually fitted really nicely there. I'm happy with that. So the cable's not bad at all there. Like I say, we'll just let that silicone dry. It's actually worked out really nicely. Well, I'll get the front mech on now as well. So get the cranks in, and then we can set the front mech height as well. 170s, 160, cranky. I like you guys riding these tiny little cranks, I don't get it. 175 all day long. So there's a good dollop of grease inside this bottom bracket anyway. Shimano premium grease. That's just going to lubricate this shaft. You can get a bit more on here if you really want to, but there's more than enough in here. Nice. Preload cap goes in. You all know this. See it every video. Basically all you're doing is taking any lateral play left to right on there. No tighter than that. Not holding your bike together, it's just a bit of plastic. Clip this back in. I had somebody say that they take these out for no apparent reason. I don't quite get it. I mean, you save half a gram if you're lucky, but it's a safety cap, guys, come on. I don't get it. Nip these up, and then we'll torque it up. Well, you should always make sure you tighten these evenly, you know the score now. I'll tell you every time. Like I say, this is probably going to take me 2 days with the amount of faffing around filming and moving the tripod. I'm going to get a trolley for my tripod, I've decided. You can get one that goes on wheels. I think it's going to make life a lot easier. Okay, done. A pile of bits is rapidly turning into a pile of empty boxes, so that's good. Right, front derailleur. So the front derailleur is a braze-on version. This is no braze-on on this frame, so we need to use an adapter. I think you can get this in a band-on, but this is what I've been supplied with, so this is what we work with. It'll work just fine. So you need one of these for that. It'll just mount straight onto there, basically, and make it into a band-on derailleur. Same thing. We have this handy guide on here on Shimano. I kind of need to plug this in and get a shifter on it really, but I'll get it somewhere close now. Comes with a little plastic guide here, basically. You just clip that on the cable and push it in. Right, these bolts are too long, so I'm adding some washers in there at the moment temporarily while I get some proper ones ordered. This is a very specific bolt for this, for the safety clips, so you can't just use anything. But this will work just fine for now. And that's how I'm ordered them. At the same time as the seat post. But just keep the video rolling, do some YouTube magic and put some washers in. Don't worry, they're not staying there. And this clip will go through this hole, which is why you need a special bolt, because it has a little slot where that actually sits into. I'm not going to push it too hard because I've got to take it back out when I get the new bolt anyway. That's basically on there, the front one on. Right, this comes with a spacer for 160 already installed, which is what we're fitting on the front. Again, Loctite already fitted to these. We're not going to fully tighten these because we need to align it with the rotor. We need to make the wheels first. Probably do that next. So this is externally routed on this fork, so that'll either be clipped or cable tied there. I'm going to run a cable tie. So I've just been looking at the footage that I filmed so far this morning on the computer, and wow, it's looking really good. This quality of this camera and the lighting, and wow, very, very happy. Hope you guys are enjoying it. If you are, you know what to do. Subscribe. Love it. Right, we're going to make some wheels now. Right, well, I was going to build the wheels. Well, so build the wheels, put the tyres on the wheels, but we've got a problem. Customer supplied these, the wheels and the tyres. These are hookless rims. There's no hook on the inside edge. To be honest, I thought everybody would stop making these bloody things. And these tyres, GP5000s, are clearly designated for hooked rims only, so I can't fit these onto there. You know, I have liability insurance. Yes, it may work, no problem at all. However, if the customer has an accident and I've fitted these tyres, I've got problems. So I'm not going to fit these tyres to these rims. So I'll speak to the customer. You're going to have to find a tyre that is hookless compatible. There's plenty out there, to be honest. But for the meantime, for the video, I'm just going to fit this wheel with the rotors and the cassette and go with no tyres for a bit, which is a bit frustrating. But anyway, I'll carry on with what we've got and speak to the customer, see what he wants to do, because it's going to be a lot easier to change the tyres than change these wheels. So it's hookless. Oh. Anyway, let me continue. Yet again, this is instructions on how to fit a brake rotor to a wheel. Are you for real? Oh my god. Another tree gone. Let me just summarise those instructions. Place rotor on wheel, tighten the locking ring on, tighten it to 40 Newton meters. Well, that's fitted. I'm not sure what legislation is telling them that they need to kill a tree every time, just to tell you that. So I've got another piece of paper, exactly the same for the other rotor. It's bonkers. Some of you may be putting grease on the splines here, to be honest. I don't find it any benefit whatsoever. The same as a free hub. I think most people are in agreement now. There's no point in greasing a free hub body. Nothing ever seizes there. It bites in when it's aluminium, yeah, but it never seizes. And the same on these. I've never had one of these seize yet. That's on. That's on. This can go in now. Woohoo! Get these in. Just a bit of grease on these skewers. They do look to be fairly high quality, sort of plated stainless anyway, but get them on. Customer's going to ring me in a minute about the tyres. I've got half a feeling he's going to tell me to put the old wheels back on. I'm going to align this rotor briefly. Not the rotor, the caliper. Beautiful. Well, it's gone bright, isn't it? Sorry. Shouldn't be far off. I'm just going to throw these pedals on there. Like that. Like that. Get these levers on next, I think. Overdue now. Let's get these on. A bit frustrating about those tyres, to be honest, but we'll get away around it, don't worry. I'm going to have the bike till it's ready anyway, so I'll film them when they go on, when we get something that's more compatible. Get these somewhere close. Probably a bit higher than that, yeah, about there. So we get this brake hose trimmed up now. I need to make sure you got enough when you're going through a full 90 that you're not pulling this super tight, so that's short enough there. You don't want to go any shorter than that. Keep it tight as if it was taped on. And around to here, it's going to be around about there. And the same on the front, we don't need to worry too much about that because obviously it turns with it, so keep that a little bit tighter. And that again is going to be about there. Well, I'll just quickly get these terminated because I'm conscious this video is going to be like 5 hours long otherwise, so you've seen me do this several times before, I'm sure. So we'll do what we can today, see if we can get these gears and brakes working, and then jump back on it next week with the new bits. The olive is already in this lever. It's already pre-bled, but obviously we might need to give it another one. And you'll feel it drop in like that. That's in now. Alright, that's definitely in, you can see that. Okay. So they will work as they are now. I'll say we may need to bleed them. Give it a few pumps to settle it onto its rear rotor and see how it feels. Feels good initially like that, but if you leave it for a second and then pull it, and we're pulling back to the bar, then we'll have to give it a bleed. So that's sort of a finger width there. And we can pump it up to half of that, so we do need to give it a bleed, you see. Let that again, let that go for a second, and it will go all the way back. So we do need to give them a quick bleed. Same on this one, pump this up so it's on the rotor itself. Like that, and then again, give it a second, and that's a much longer travel there. If you pump it and the travel gets shorter, like you can see there, you need to bleed it. Or I need to bleed it. So I just need to quickly whip the wheels out, take the pads out, put a bleed block in there, and just squirt a bit of fluid up to the lever, and that'll be done for that. Don't be tempted to do it with the pads and whatnot in it. You know, probably get away with it, but it's highly not recommended. We're not doing a full tutorial on bleeding, we're just going to quickly get this through here. Like I say, I'm conscious these videos are getting a bit long, so I'm trying to keep them reasonable for you. So that's that end done. I'll just connect to the lever. So we've got a bleed cup on the lever, I'm just going to push that fluid through. It shouldn't be very much, it's just literally the tiny bit of air there where we've cut the hose already, that's all. So I'm just going to push that through now. You won't be able to see much, but there's only a bubble or two. You can hear that. That should be all it needs, and we'll just burp the lever a few times, tighten this port up at the back. So let's push through, just tighten this back up. It's just a case of burping this lever. It feels rock solid now. So we'll loosen that off and we'll go through as many angles as we can get on the stand, basically. Just checking there's no more bubbles. There's literally nothing coming out of there, that's literally perfect now. And that's that one done. That was easy, wasn't it? Refit this with the O-ring. Just be careful with these. I have done a video, if you knacker these, then you can repair them with a brass insert if you can get someone to make you one. That's it. No tighter than that. From the factory, see how loose that was? And again, we're just going to squeeze that through. There you go. Almost in focus for you. That's it. The last of the syringe in, no more air. Take this off, job done. So there's the Allen key and there's one finger pulling it, look. That's it, stop. Right, it's there both bled. I told you it wouldn't take long. Fold them back for now because otherwise you end up with a big crease in it. Right, you can already see it. It won't take long to get there. 2 rubber bungs go back in there. One there and one on the side. Repeat on the front. Done. So there, wheel back in. We can just check that again. Beautiful, no rubbing. Right, so I'll put a chain on now and then we can connect the derailleur to the shifters. We'll set the limit screws, etc. and see if we can get it shifting. We don't need tyres for that, so we can do that bit. And also check this is set correctly as well. It shouldn't be far off. This sticker is really a pretty big help for you. Again, inspired by a customer. It's got a blue pen tick. If you've got a black tick on there by ink, it's probably fake. This is a genuine chain for sure. and also if it's got a sticker on there. These are general guidelines that I've found over the years. I've done a video on this. If it's got a separate sticker on there, genuine. If this barcode's printed on the box, probably fake. Not quite that straightforward, but those are the two key things, especially this blue pen hand sort of written tick. Look at that first. Saying that, I got this delivered yesterday, which is must be a new Shimano packing, so I've never seen one in a cardboard box like this, but I know for a fact it's genuine. It came from a Shimano supplier, so they're interesting. Maybe they're changing their boxes. Never seen one in this packet before, but definitely genuine, I think. Right, so we're ready to fit the chain now, but first of all we need to move this front derailleur because it's covering the large chain ring that we need to be using to measure the chain. So we'll pair the derailleurs and the shifters now. Quite easy, you just need E-tube basically on your phone. So press and hold this until it starts flashing blue. There's a light on the back, like that. So that's in pairing mode. Searching units, so it should find that derailleur now. Right, it's found that. Connecting to rear derailleur. Pair and connect. So we'll set a passkey later, I'll do that for the customer. And then basically what you need to do is 2 QR codes on the shifters that you just need to scan, and that'll pair the system for you. It's that easy. There is no battery, or the battery does not have a sufficient charge. Yeah, okay. So it's not happy with the charge level on the battery we fitted, so I'm gonna have to charge that before we can do anything. Okay, get it on charge then. So a quick pause just to say thank you to Sport and Leisure, the channel sponsor, for sponsoring this video. So when you're in the middle of a job, the last thing you want is progress to come to a grinding halt because the part that said it was in stock wasn't actually in stock. I've waited 4 weeks, I'm not kidding you, from other companies. That's why I use Sport and Leisure. They're UK based, their stock levels are live, and if their website says it's on the shelf, it genuinely is on the shelf, ready to ship. Order before 3 PM and it ships the same day. Free delivery on UK orders. Next day delivery is only £2.50, which is a no-brainer when you're trying to keep the work flowing. They've also updated the discount scheme for the channel, so if you head over to sportandleisure.com/BCR or scan the QR code on screen right now, it'll generate a unique voucher for 10% off your first order on checkout. So if you're buying parts anyway, it's an easy saving. The link's down below, and a massive thanks again to sportandleisure.com for continuing to support this channel. Right, let's continue with this. It's looking good. So it's a few days later, we have compatible tyres now, we have a new seat post, got the brake bolts and the battery's charged, so we can carry on. Right, so let's try again. Press this. Right, so that's found everything there. We're going to add a switch, basically. All you need to do, like I say, is scan the QR code. It's on the shifter. Super easy on these. There's the QR code on the inside of the shifter. We just scan that. And there we go. That's paired with that. And we'll add another switch. Just do the same on this other one you can't see. So that's showing the full system now. So we've got a front derailleur, rear derailleur, 2 shifters, and the battery will be there as well. So now, in theory, this rear derailleur should shift. So we'll just disconnect that now. And away we go. Up and running. All right, so we can move this front derailleur now, get the chain sized, which was the whole point of that. All right, so that's above the big chain ring now, so we need to be on big to measure this chain. So we'll leave that there. Just before we put the wheel back in, I'll put these bolts in, get rid of these washers for you. Take that clip out. I mean, these washers will probably work, don't get me wrong, but it's not ideal, is it? So replacement one, 5mm shorter. I'll go straight in there without any washers, and the clip will fit as well. Quick alignment when we get the wheel back in, but we know it's working. So before we do put the wheel back in, we can fit these tyres now as well. So these GP5000s are what the customer originally supplied, just a standard clincher tube basically. Go for the GP5000 TR. They are specifically listed as hookless compatible. You need to make sure your rim width is under 25mm and stick to the recommended tyre pressure up to sort of 65 PSI on this one, and they should work fine. We're putting those on with boost door TPU tubes from my video review that I did on TPU. I was quite impressed with these. So I got 4 of these from AliExpress for less than the price of one premium tube in the UK. They have a full metal valve and some good reinforcement around the actual valve core itself, so I was quite impressed with these. Slightly thicker than most TPUs, so a tiny, well, a couple of grams heavier if anything, but yeah, they're really good. Right, let's get these in. It does blow me away, the price of these Continentals. I swear to God, they're more expensive than tyres for your car. They're just insane. Okay, just make this valve full. I'll be honest, it'd be nice to get this bike wrapped up. I've had it ages now, messing around with little bits. Oh, these are a good fit, Jesus. Well, these are going to be a struggle, aren't they? I do have massive arthritis in this thumb, so I really struggle to fit tight tyres these days, unfortunately. Like, really struggle. Right, this first bit on. A little bit of air in these. A little bit. I'm going to try this easy fit stuff, see if it's going to make it life easier. You use soapy water, I guess, but this is specifically designed for fitting tyres. I guess it's the same stuff they use for cars. I'm going to need all the help I can get on these, I'll tell you. Right. Finish at the valve. And obviously make sure you get the bead sitting right in the centre of the wheel to make it as small as possible, but even then this is going to be a bust. This is going to be a struggle, I'm telling you. Customer didn't want tubeless, absolutely not, so we're going with TPUs. So get one what you can, and like I say, just push this all the way into the centre of the wheel, give you as much space as possible. Well, I've seen worse actually, this will go. She wasn't too bad at all. Alright, will it bead? Right, we're on, finally. It didn't take that long actually. Soapy water for the win. So on a maximum PSI of 65 on these hookless. Honestly not a fan of hookless rims in the slightest. I honestly thought they'd pretty much been abandoned. But hey, they're still here. I'm sure there's equal amount of people out there that would rave about them, and that's fine. So 64 on there. Good. Right, for the final time this can go in and hopefully stay in. I'll just center this caliper, 2 seconds. Right, happy with that. Tyres beaded properly. Ready to go. Right, let's get the chain on and then we can start looking at the i2. I'll fight that front wheel off camera, just do it in a second, it won't take me long. Let's get the chain on. So we'll just follow Shimano's instructions, make sure you get the chain the right way around, as usual. It's got some writing on the outside. Not really writing, text, logos, whatever you want to call it. And just thread this up. Biggest chainring, biggest sprocket, don't go through the derailleur. So this is what they call the 0 point here, where the chain would meet there. So you're on this one here, if you've got an outer and an inner, you need to add 3 links basically. So we add this one, this one, this one, and then a quick link. So we're splitting the chain right here. So we take off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 links. A long chain. And then we just fit the chain through the derailleur. Look at the gears. Ready for a workout and getting this link in. Jeez, these are tight Shimano ones. You ready? Jesus. Wow, that's tight. That's what he said. Right, anyway. So basically, we're alive. Drop it down to the smallest chainring. We need to set B tension first. So we'll drop it down to there and up to the biggest sprocket. We haven't set any limit screws yet, you do that later. Just be careful because you haven't set them, but you should index perfectly. Pretty much out the box straight away. So now we'll look at B tension. So they give you a special little tool for that. I say tool, it's basically a piece of paper. We'll have a look at this. Using a 34 tooth sprocket on it, basically this just curves around the cage here and then you adjust the B tension until you can see the sprocket there. So we need to go up a bit really. B tension up here. So I'm a big fan of the way that SRAM do this. Their little plastic tool is fantastic. It makes it literally idiot proof. So let's see if I can get this wrong. Right, that is not going to be a million miles out. Yeah, you can just about see that, can't you? So that one there, end of that tooth is level with this line, so that's basically set. So to set up the trim position, you just drop this down to the 5th sprocket. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we put it into adjustment mode, micro adjust it until it starts making a noise on this 4th, and then you click it back. 5 clicks, and that should be perfect then. So let's do that. So put it into adjustment mode, press and hold this button until it starts flashing green and red, like that. Then we can micro adjust this here, so keep going until it starts making a noise. That's making a noise there basically already, so we're going to back this off 5. Like that. And that's pretty much set really, to be honest. Like I say, it was shifting pretty much perfectly as I actually installed it. So that's set. We're going to go down here and set the high limit screw now. So with the i2, these really don't do a great deal because they can be basically the brain of this is controlling the travel, but you do obviously need to set a hard limit. But what you don't need to do is set it hard. You need to set it so it's on and then you back it off a turn so it can actually over travel fractionally. So high is there. Setting that onto its stop. Right, so that's set there. So you unscrew it 1 turn because you need to allow the derailleur to over travel, find its gear, and then it will settle down. If you're on there, basically it will shift down, then it will shift back up, and then it'll sort of bounce around, or it'll go down there and constantly be fighting itself and drain your battery. So just be careful with that. So that's okay. Let's go straight to the top and do the same thing again. So this should shift perfectly now. We are in big, but it must be capable of doing big. And then just drop down the block. Perfect. Right. Very easy, really. Peel this sticker off now. Don't leave this here for the next 10 years, honestly, guys. Take it off. Right, so I'd quickly go over the front derailleur. I mean, it's working as it is, but there are a few settings that you just need to check and tweak. These are normally, I think these are already actually available as braze-on. Obviously, if you use the adapter like we've done here, you can fit it to pretty much anything. Still need to set this little screw in here though. So there's a 2mm screw in there, and that basically pushes a screw against this bracket and then pulls this derailleur into its final alignment of the chainring. So you set this basically ever so slightly, not parallel, and then you use this screw here to finely tweak it like that. And that basically braces the derailleur against there and makes it far more rigid. So that's that bit done. That was easy. And then there's some settings on E-tube. So load up your E-tube, go into maintenance for front derailleur, and it'll take you through this screen here. So it tells you to put it into a big chainring, small sprocket. You don't actually put it in there, you just press start and then pedal it, and then it'll change for you. It's already in that one, but if it wasn't, it would automatically change to that position for you. Right, so it's already in the specified position. Okay, so then all you need, it's basically about setting clearances between this cage and the chain in different gears, and that's all you do. So click to next. So this is looking for clearance between the outer cage and the chain of 0.5 to 1mm. And if it's not that, you can adjust it on here. Basically, this will micro adjust the front derailleur like that. I think there's 19 positions either way, so you can get that set extremely accurately. Basically, you don't want it touching, but you want it super close. If you've got a feeler gauge, you can use that. Let me see if I've got one I can just grab for you. Right, I can't find my feeler gauge, but I found this, which is 0.5mm. Basically, so you want this part of the cage, this very inner edge, to be 0.5mm away from there. So that's a bit big at the moment, so we can bring it in. And I can just feel that skimming them both now, so that's about right on that one. Right, next, again, pedal it, and it will change it up to the largest sprocket on the back automatically for you. That's not there. And then we're looking for a clearance on the inside of the cage to the chain again. That's going to be a bit more difficult to measure. But again, 0 to 0.5mm, so that's less of a clearance on that one there. You can technically have this rubbing. Because you're on big, you shouldn't be on this one. So if it is rubbing ever so slightly, we're not overly concerned with that. But that's nowhere near it at the moment, so I can bring this right up here. That's basically maxed out there. A little bit too much. Okay, looks good. Then go to next, and again, it will pedal for you, drop it down to the small chainring. That puts you in the right gear. And then we're looking again for a clearance. This is on the lowest chainring, so again, 0 to 0.5mm from the inner cage to the chain, and adjust if necessary. That's quite big at the moment. Well, that's pretty damn close there. Complete. And that's the front derailleur set. So we'll just go through the gears now, and this should work perfectly. So it'll automatically trim itself, basically. There's no real limit screws so such on this. It's all done electronically. So you just need to disconnect your bike after you've done that, otherwise it doesn't do anything. Keep forgetting that bit. I normally do all this on my laptop, and it's a lot easier. Right, drop down the block, and it should automatically trim this as we move. Which it did there. I don't know if you can see it, but I could hear it. Yeah, tiny, tiny movement, just to automatically trim it. And that's it, basically. Set. Perfect. Such a beautiful system, honestly, absolutely flawless. So if I have time, I'll connect this and do the firmware updates as well, because you don't know how long these things have been sitting on the shelf. They may be well out of date. So hopefully I'll find time to do that for you as well. So I'll put the front tyre, front wheel on, and we can look at the seat post, because we've got to change all that over as well. Pop. Right, that's on as well. Near enough. This is starting to look like a bit of a beast now, isn't it? I quite like it. Well, I like it a lot, actually. Just refit this clip on this brake caliper as well. It just pushes in. Obviously, that was quite a basic Di2 sort of guide. If you go to bettershifting.com, the information on there is just absolutely fantastic. Really, it's so well written website. Everything is on there, perfect. So if you're struggling, go to that website. It's phenomenal. Right, that is on. Beautiful. So the customer found this. It's actually a really nice carbon seat post. It's on special offer. It's a Di2 post, so the battery should just slide in here, so we shouldn't need that adapter anymore. And hopefully it just holds itself in, but specifically designed for Di2, so we should be good. Get a bit of carbon paste on here. We're just going to measure the height of the old one first to the top of the saddle, because obviously it's a different post. So I did print out a thing that clipped in here to measure this, and I've lost it. So I'll just have to do it the old way. Right, so from the centre of that cap there to the top of the saddle, directly in line with that, we're looking at 75.5 centimetres. Right, let's clamp this back up and get that changed. Obviously you're going to have to disconnect the Di2, but that's fine. That's why I have cables with some slack. So you can do that. We'll just unplug these. Again, you can use your special tool. Normally you can pull them out pretty straightforward though. Like that. Alright, let's transfer this battery over. There's not really any particularly clear instructions that I can find, but as far as I can work out, that's how it's going. That's not going anywhere. Get some carbon paste on here and get it set. Get the saddle on first. They even give you some carbon paste if you've not got any. I've got loads, but I'll use this because it's supplied with it. To be honest, this frame, like I say, it's not had any history of seizing seat posts on this frame, so we should be okay. Let's get us somewhere close, 75.5-ish. It wants to go down. Right, I'll check it out the stand, but that's not far off there. 5 to 6 Newton meters we're asking for here. So, we can go 5.5. How's that? Looking rather fantastic, that is. Beautiful. Nice. Just check the Di2 still working? Yeah. Just take these into position, and then obviously we need some bar tape as well. Let's not forget that. Bar tape, how about pink? Maybe not. Super sticky cush, only it's not cush. This is AliExpress cush. Let's get this on. I'm not gonna lie, it looks and feels identical, except for the price. So customer's gonna be a long-term tester of this. He doesn't know it yet, but he's fairly flexible when it comes to bar tape. We did have a conversation about it. This is going on. Anyway, someone's strumming outside, so I'm just gonna wrap this up, fast forward, because it's annoying me, so it must be annoying you. Not too bad. I don't claim to be a master of this. We'll just add some of the Tessa tape on here now. Basically, it just softens it up and makes it look a bit nicer. Okay, get the other side wrapped up. Then just a couple of other tiny little bits to look at, and we're about done then. So while it's wrapped up, just going to chuck some lube on this chain. Finish line, of course, nothing but the best. Right, so just lube the chain. I'm just going to spread this up the block, and then we'll give it a quick wind up. Hunt hub at the end of the day, and they're pretty loud, that's for sure. Let's give it a go. Beautiful. Right, you ready for this? Holy. Too loud. So we've still got the gaping hole in the frame. So I've just spoken to Kinesis and this original cable stop. Apparently these were glued in at some point. So obviously that glue's failed over the years. So I'll just get that epoxied in and leave that overnight and put some silicone in there, same as the other one, because they don't do the inserts. And otherwise you're going to get wind and rain sort of driving down there as you're traveling forward. So let me just do that. The other side's not actually fell out yet, but I'll take it out anyway because I think it's only a matter of time. The other side actually is pretty well stuck. I'll leave that as it is. Structural epoxy here, so that should definitely hold this on. Right, drop that in. I'm just going to cable tie it around until that sets. Well, here. So once it sets, I'll just skim some black silicone in there again. Right, the only other thing we're going to look at is this scratch here, I think. I'm just going to see if we can get rid of this. Because it's a titanium frame, it should be fairly easy to get rid of. Right, I think there's a bit of grease in there first. Yeah. So with tie, if you get some red 3M Scotch pad, rub that over there. That should pretty much just rub that mark straight out. And that's pretty much invisible now. Fantastic titanium, honestly. It's so good in that respect. It's fantastic. It's 100% my favourite material for a frame. 100%. So you could just go around and refinish the whole frame with this stuff, basically. Any scratches, most of it comes just straight out with this. It's fantastic. Right, that's a massive improvement. Just a couple of little bits then. Firmware update is available for this rear derailleur, so we'll just do that one there. I've also plugged this clip in that keeps falling out before you see. Oh, it's so much quicker when you wire into it with your laptop. Oh my god. Bear with. Right, I'll just let that finish, but apart from that, nothing much exciting. I'll check the shifters as well individually. It's finally updated. That took forever. I'm not going to be doing it wirelessly going forwards. I'm going to use PCE02. I'll do that on the shifters off camera because that's about 1,000,000 times faster via the hardware box. One last thing before we bed the brakes in. We've got this. However, we've got this as well. Match the headset. I'll give them this as well if you don't want it, but yeah. These are literally pennies on AliExpress. If you are fitting alloy, I would always recommend putting a little bit of grease in here because he's got a habit of seizing on there. So put a tiny bit of grease in that. Nice. just get the brakes bedded in now. So I'll do the rear one first. 140 Ice Tech. Let's get going on this. Wow, I was really struggling to keep that in there. You can see that these tyres are so sticky, just literally ripping it out of the machine. Well, got there in the end. Alright, so let's do the fronts now. They're on 160s. Crikey. Done. Well, those tyres are bonkers. So I think that's done. Looking absolutely awesome. Beautiful bike this is, look at this. Fantastic. So nice. I think the orange was a good choice. I think my secret edition helped it as well. You've still not seen it. But yeah, it's looking beautiful and working fantastically. So I did just check the saddle height there, and that is perfect. And I also forgot to check the alignment of these levers, but luckily I actually got it absolutely perfect just by eye. So there you go. So I've dropped some silicone in there. It's almost dry. Basically the same on the other side. So it's basically waterproof and sealed now. Not the prettiest job, but I don't claim to be a professional silicone sealer. So I'm calling this beauty done. Wow, what a bike. It looks fantastic, doesn't it? You probably had your doubts about the cam bag, but I think you've got to agree. This bike is working flawlessly. Absolutely stunning machine. So I'm going to give the customer a call, let him know it's ready. Yeah, she is good to go, ready for some very long trips, I'm led to believe. I think he's crossing Europe, so a few thousand miles by the sounds of it. Over the space of a year, a few trips it's broken down into, but yeah, it's going on for an adventure, this bike is, so hopefully it makes it in one piece. I'm sure it will. TPUs will be fine as well, don't worry. So I hope you enjoyed that. I really enjoyed filming this one actually. The bike looks phenomenal and it's been a real pleasure to work on. So if you did enjoy it and you've not already done so, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It really, really does help. If you want to help support the channel memberships are a great way to do that as well. A couple of quid, it really does help with things like refurbishing the workshop, etc, etc. It really, really is appreciated. Anyway, thank you very much for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.